Welcome to the doghouse. My view on the draft and some of the people. I'm going to start off with Shedeur Sanders, or ever how you say his name. I tell you what, he's going to be a good quarterback. There's no doubt. But those people out there saying that he is blacklisted from the NFL, that is garbage. That is based upon a whole bunch of media and people out there that was really pushing him. And it is so stupid that that'd be why he went so far in the draft. And I'll be full disclosure here. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm a fan of Deion Sanders. But if I'm an owner, would I really want Shedeur as my quarterback? No. The reason being, it is going to be drama filled because Dion will get involved if he was that high. I don't know about now, but if he was a high draft choice, he's going to say what's got to be and what's not going to be, and he will dictate his son to what he wants. Now, in his heart, he won't, but that is exactly what would have happened. Now, everybody knows that he has an attitude problem, not on the field, but just his overall attitude. And teams don't want that anymore. They don't want to have to deal with that. And I don't blame them. Like I said, if I was the owner, I would not. Because I don't want the drama that would come with it. And sometimes a father can hurt a son, and they don't try to. And I'm not criticizing Dion for wanting to be by his son and helping him. All the more power to him as a father. But when you get so involved, you say this, this, this. He can't go to this team. I won't allow him to go to this team. He's old enough to make his own decision. You may not like it, but it would have been his decision. And you can't, and people don't want all the publicity and negativity that would come with it. Has nothing to do with him being blackballed because I think most NFL teams thinks he's going to be a good quarterback. But why do you want that in your backyard already? You put him in there and it's not going to be that good. But people don't realize that. They think, well, he'll be great. Yeah, but look what you're going to have to put up with. Some of the teams out there, I could see why they didn't want him. And on Dallas, they went a lot of line play, which they knew they needed to improve. New Orleans Saints did the same thing, except you can question the one quarterback they took. But outside that, they're trying to improve their lines, and that is a priority to both them teams. Plus, other teams are doing the same thing. Therefore, you're going to not go high with the quarterback. You're going with them needs in the line, an offensive line, because offensive linemen has been short for a few years now. So if you don't get them at the top, you're not going to get them. And it was proven that a lot of these teams were taking them right off the top because they knew this. Not that they were anti-Shedeur. They just didn't want they wanted their teams to improve, and they don't want the drama that comes with a Shedeur Sanders quarterback. And you would. I know I hear people, oh, they should have took him. And no. A lot of these teams have good players on them, but then you get somebody like that, it becomes a distraction. Either even other quarterbacks in the NFL have come out and told Shedeur that he needed to do a few things different. And, he does. I used to like Deion Sanders playing. I thought when he was with the Cowboys, that was all great for me. But you can't be so involved and expect people not to shy away. Partly it's Shedeur's attitude. Partly they didn't want the drama that would come with Deion. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Deion would not help. I think he'll be more of a help where he didn't go so high. Now they'll work things out and he can actually work with him. And it's not going to be a high profile deal. And that'll be okay then. But sometimes fathers get involved when they shouldn't. A good example of that is LeVar Ball. He had two sons and is still playing, I do believe, both of them for different basketball teams. He thought they were the greatest. They are good. They're not the greatest. But he tried to interfere in so many ways with them, who, what, and where, and when they needed to do in basketball. He was wrong in doing that. He probably hurt them in the long run. Not because he was their father, but because what he thought. And this guy's product's big baller. And I mean, I don't have nothing against him. It's just when you get involved like that, you become a distraction, not a help. Do you want to go? Everybody wants to go to the NFL for the dollars, okay? But is the dollars more important, or is the distraction and going forward the way to do things? You have two choices here. And Shedeur is definitely would have been high pick, would have been a bad choice for teams. No team is blackballing him. They just don't want the idea of all the publicity and the negativity that's going to come with that. Should that be the way it is? Maybe not, but that is the way it is. There is no blackballing him at all. I don't even think that all the NFL owners got together. No, we ain't going to take him. We're not going to take him. That was up to each team. And some of these teams out there made smart draft choices. Him being a high-profile draft choice probably wouldn't have been the smartest thing for that team to do, or any team. A lot of people thought he was going to go to Cleveland Browns, which he went anyway. Just didn't go to the top. But it's okay, he's still there. But when you get families involved in negotiations at times, it usually hurts the other players. Now, the Mannings is a little different story. It didn't hurt them. But a lot of these teams, it does. When their sons get going and they want them and they got to do this and they got to do that. And you got to remember, Deion said there was two teams that he would refuse to have his sons play for. See, he's trying to control his sons, not giving them the opportunity to do what they want with what team they want. They seem like nice people. I've seen videos of the two boys. They seem okay, but it's still, you want that publicity and the prima donna stuff that will go on? Because it would have. I mean, why would, let's say, New Orleans take him? They already got their problems. Why would they want another problem and have to deal with two different problems of quarterback? That would have made no sense for them to do that. Yes, I know there was a push by some people, even the Sanders, to go to New Orleans. Different situations he may have done, but uh, it would have been bad for New Orleans to do that. It would have been bad for Dallas to do that because then they would have started a controversy that didn't need to start. So you got teams that went out there, went offensive line, which was good, and the right move to make for them. It's just that some of the stuff coming out right now with Deion Sanders and Shedeur and the blackmail, or not blackmail, but blacklisting them, is a bunch of crap because you don't want somebody like that. You don't need somebody like that. And like I said, nothing against Shedeur, and I'm pushing for him to be a good quarterback. I really am. I want him to go out there and show what he can do. But there is no need to start drama at all. It was just these sports writers was pushing him so hot and heavy that they got egg in their face. Now they're trying to make excuses of why and what happened. How about being realistic about it and figure it out what happened? But no, they won't, because part of the problem they had him up there so high is the media was pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. You know, and that's not right for him either. That's a bad call for him when the media's doing that. Let him go where he's going to go. Quit saying he was blacklisted and quit saying they should have took him earlier. There was reasons for that, and it's none of them the media out there is saying, because they're trying to cover their own butt and they don't care who they step over to do it. I don't care whether it's ESPN or Yahoo Sports or Fox Sports, all of them was pushing this guy to a higher deal than what he should have been. All you guys wanted him to do is go out there, all the media. That would have been one great media platform when he started all this and Deion was starting this with him, and it would have been a controversy instead of what the game should be. They wanted the controversy to come out more than a team doing what they needed to do to improve. They cared less about that because they would have had a lot of fodder during the year he come out as a prima donna and his dad was helping him. That would have been one of the worst things happened to that kid. And like I said, I like Deion and just the attitude off the field don't seem to be too bad. But let's face it, just as a family part, not the other. You can separate them because Deion was a good father. But their attitude was one, money. It's all show being flashy and all that. Teams want football players. They don't want flashiness. They want to win. And the news media wants something they could go after and lie about, or not even necessarily lie, but have these guys out there and just hammer them because of how they're acting. And every one of them people out there in the sports reporting knows this would have happened deep down in their heart. Maybe where he went, he'll become a better football player. Not that he's bad at all, but he could be focused more on football than the flash and the dollar signs in his pocket. And that is something that he needs to think about as a football player, not where he went in the draft. Because some of the flash has been cut down because of where he went. That's not being blacklisted. That's being teams' reality sets in and what their needs were, and they went forward with what their needs were. And most sports, not all of them, a good part of the sports people just don't care. They want the publicity and all the fame, and that's exactly what they'll do. They care less about the person. They'll get more stories out of Shedeur being a top quarterback and the flash and all that comes out on him, and they're going to go after him. And I'm sure some of them, not all of them, a lot of them have that in the back of their heads exactly what they were going to do. Shame on them for doing that, by the way. That young kid don't deserve that type of publicity. He don't deserve to go out there with the flash and dollar signs like he wears and all that crap either. But that's controllable. And I I think he'll be a little bit more humble because of where he went in the draft. But the overall draft, I didn't think it was too bad for most teams. New Orleans, a head scratcher. Maybe they got a good quarterback. See, I like Kellen Moore. He's from this, or he went to school in the same state I'm from. No, I didn't root for him as a player. I had another college team I root for, and it wasn't Boise State. But he was smart and good. So yeah, I see New Orleans not win a lot of games, but I think they're going to have a good coach in the end. And they got line help, which they needed. Dallas got line help, which they needed. Several other teams got line helps, which they needed. But you notice they dwindled off them certain positions pretty fast. That is because offensive lines have become a joke. Not because of the coaches, but because of the availability of good offensive line players. And maybe it'll change, but it's really hurt every team over the past few years. Some have adapted better than others, but the quality of players were down. And running back, people are going more to the running back as passing, which is good, but you got to have a good runner. Philadelphia has a great runner, and Dallas don't. New Orleans don't. Miami really don't. And some of these other teams. So it goes back to where Shedeur was drafted. Maybe there was needs that need to be covered by these other teams. Just because they didn't go along with the media doesn't mean the other teams were against this kid, because they weren't. The only ones that were offended was a lot of news people or sports writers that was pushing him to the top. Maybe they ought to look at how they're doing things, because there's no reason to go out there and have this publicity on a guy that has hurt himself because of the publicity, but to add to it. And that's just how it is. And if any of you think that there was some blackballing going on, You are completely wrong. It's people want better teams. People are willing to go out and get better teams. And him as a top player just wasn't in the works this year for anybody. Probably one of the lowest grade classes for quarterbacks I've seen in quite a while. Not Shedeur is good. I've seen about 5 or 6 good quarterbacks, and that was it. Next year there's supposed to be more, but we'll see. And I do hope Shedeur does great. Like I said, I'm a fan of his dad. I'm a fan of Dallas Cowboys. They're my number one team by far. Always have been as a kid. But the media needs to quit telling these lies just to make a good story. And that's what they're doing. They're hurting the people. They're hurting Shedeur by putting this crap out there. He may think it, his dad may think it, but shoving it out like you are and not knowing if it's the truth or not, that's not a good thing at all. Maybe, just maybe, Shedeur was drafted where he should have been. Something to think about.